We've been doing buffalo since 2003. We were born and bred in Edina, both of us. We graduated together and ended up moving out in the country in 1968 to live in the country, not to farm. That didn't last too long, even though he promised me we weren't going to be farming. We just started out very small in pigs and then got bigger, and we're doing pigs until the market for pigs started to get bad. We had heard about cultural butchering, and then when the market really got bad in 1998, when the price was down to like 8 cents a pound, which of course you're losing big time, we decided to try the cultural butchering, which is just preparing. It's just a way for immigrants to get the meat the way they used to like to get it, by picking out their own animal and having the skin on. Kind of things they can't get when they go to the local butcher shop or the big box grocery stores. So we did that, and we had a manager that was working for us that was going to take over the business, and the people wanted beef too. So at that time, buffalo market was not very good, so we got into buffalo instead of beef. That was in 2003. Before that, when we first started in the buffalo, it was purely whole animals to the Hmong, and they would do their own butchering and take the meat home. And then we needed to start finding an outlet for our bison in other ways. So I started at first doing farmers market in New Prague, advertising. We put a sign up on the highway, started to get a retail business, and then I started looking at something a little bit more steady, and that's when we looked towards Valley.
We have 220 acres. Of that 220 acres, we rent some out to gardeners. We've got about 50 acres that gardeners have for farmers markets, and then we have hay ground that we use for the buffalo here, and we have pasture at the other farm. We'll fluctuate in our animal numbers. Like right now, calving is just about completed, and we're going to have about 180 head, counting all the calves. And now we'll start going down, because every time you kill, it decreases.
We could get more money if we sold it to a larger co-op on the animals, but we feel that the people around us, people like to buy local. We like to provide it so that they know where the meat is coming from. It kind of gives us a direct contact with the customer. We like to give it, to Valley, because it's a local store, and that it's going to be a local produce. So that's important to us. Not, we could do things and get more money for it, but we really like the local ability to do it locally, and to let people have, try this bison, and it might not get as good a bison as they get local. If they get what they get in some of the big stores that come out from out west. I think the bison that is sold locally, direct market, is a better bison, and we wanted to do that.
Every bison producer that I know of, none of them use antibiotics or hormones. Unlike the cattle industry, what we try to do here is we use all grass, and we'll use organic oat screenings. If you get it on you, it's kind of itchy, but they like it, and it helps stimulate them to start their heat cycle for breeding. So we start feeding that usually the 4th of July, and we'll feed that, probably feed that until the end of August into September. What I like the most is in the spring and watching all the animals being born. And you go over there, it's just comical. You see these, most people look at buffalo and they think of them being brown. Well, when the calves are born, they're actually orangish. And you look out in that pasture and you see all these little orange fluff balls, and they're just like little kids. And they just tear back and forth, running, and just, I don't know what they're doing except playing. And they just tear back and forth and run after each other. And the thing that I like the least is the harvest of them. We choose what we call field harvesting. There's basically two ways you can harvest a buffalo. You can corral them, run them in a trailer, and take them to the butcher shop. The second way is field harvesting, and which is what we choose. And that is you pick a number. All of our buffalo have an ear tag. And you say blue 17, kind of like roulette. And you go out there and see blue 17, you take your binoculars. That's the one we're going to do. You take a rifle, you find her, and she doesn't even hear the bullet go, the firing. The bullet hits and she drops. So it's about as humane as you can get. She's not running around, or she's not being confined in a space or anything. It's just that it's like a light switch. It just goes boom.
It's such a young industry that everyone is kind of learning. Some of them have been in it longer than others. There are a few producers that have been there since the 70s and 80s when it was really a different industry. But in general, most of the people have only been in it for the last 10, 12 years. And so it's kind of a small club. I'm not sure if there'll ever be enough bison to satisfy what the public's demand for bison. Because it just, unless you started to get into feedlots, and we really don't want to get into feedlots because that's not natural for bison. They're an animal that are constantly on the move. They could be one pasture, half an hour later they're someplace else. Bison is going to be better for you, lowering calories and cholesterol and everything than even grass-fed cattle. So it's healthier, it has higher iron. The omega, whichever the good omega is, there's more of that and there's less of the bad ones. Most of my customers have said that if people don't know the difference between, let's say you had two roasts, one was beef and one was bison, and you ask them which one you like better, most all the time they'll say the bison. There's just a better taste and texture. It holds itself up better in like chilies and those kinds of things. Bison steak is to die for. I mean, it's really, really good. And like I say, it's a wonderful red meat because it's a red meat that you can eat even though you're told that you can't eat red meat. Most of your retail groceries are chains, and when they do sell bison, they're getting most of their bison from out west, mostly because of this amount of supply. I mean, there's no way that most bison producers in the Midwest could supply very many places because we just don't. If all we did is provide the meat to wholesalers or to retail, we could probably do better. But we've kind of gotten the business of, like Valley, and we do one restaurant, and we do retail, and we do quarters and halves. And so we're stretched really thin on that line. But it's a good place because people, I think, appreciate the healthiness of the animal and are more likely to buy it and to realize what a good thing they've got.